Hey, what's up, everybody? On today's Writer's Block Party Podcast, a podcast about creators being creative, we come up with ideas for a movie, TV show, or product, and we get to invite you along for the journey and the process. In today's episode, we sit down with Matt Gallagher, a comedian slash writer slash actor. We go down a creative, conspiracy-filled rabbit hole. Welcome to another episode of Writer's Block Party Podcast. I'm your host, R.C. Cepeda. Today we have your co-host, Andy Canzillo. We have our guest, Matt Gallagher.
Hi, how you doing?
Thanks for coming, Matt.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
How you doing today on this cold, chilly LA Sunday?
It's pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels like weather. That's good. You know what I mean? Like it makes you feel alive.
Today, our sponsor is going to be cherrypicks.com. Cherrypicks.com is a site dedicated to your favorite films. Cherrypicks is an alternative to Rotten Tomatoes, tackling the gender imbalance in film criticism. Cherrypicks.com scores films based on women's reviews, which is a great change.
Yeah.
And they serve up great interviews and reviews and all that good stuff. So cherrypicks.com, check it out.
Yeah.
So welcome to Writer's Block Party, Matt. So basically, the rundown is going to be, we'll throw some platforms at you to choose from. Movie, TV show, product.
All right.
And then after you choose one, I'll give you some titles to choose from.
Okay.
We choose the title, and then we kind of create our own adventure from there.
All right.
You down for that?
I'm down.
Okay. Movie, TV show, product.
Okay, I'm going to take product right off because I'm kind of anti-commercialism.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now it's like movie or a TV series. Okay, series seems like there'd be that's like kind of long for me, so let's do a movie.
Movie? Movies are great.
I love movies.
This is a good movie, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Got 3 names for you.
Okay.
That's a doozy.
That is a doozy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Fly on the wall.
Okay.
Or sloppy seconds.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
What'd you
Yeah.
pop in world's greatest porno?
Yeah, I know. Like 1 and 3 are definitely.
And then I got this one called
starring
Deep
Charlie
Throat
Sheen.
Susan. Marcy Cepeda.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go.
That's a doozy. Fly on the wall. Sloppy seconds.
We're gonna go with Fly on the Wall.
Fly
I
on the
like
wall.
it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like
There's
it.
a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah. Well, what was the first thing that came up in your head when you thought of that?
Like some kind of like an espionage or like a voyeur,
Okay.
somebody who's like around something that's important, like a White House staffer, something along those lines.
Like
Somebody-
whistleblower-ish. Got a little bit of that.
Yeah, there could be anything. It could be like the guy behind the guy.
I like that.
You're already giving us a good starting
Yeah.
point. That's great.
Right.
It's a lot
I like
of
this.
things to work with right there.
Fly on the
Yeah.
wall. Yeah, he knows what no one else knows.
Okay.
I haven't seen much. Let's go female. We can go with that,
A
right?
female what?
Fly on the wall.
But is she, okay, this is going to sound stupid. Are we talking about a literal fly on the wall here? You want somebody who like turns into a fly?
That
Or
could
are we
be
going to
a
take?
negative
Are
one.
we removing that supernatural aspect completely away from the whole thing?
I'm open to anything. You know that.
Yeah, I mean then it becomes like I think we're mixing sci-fi and espionage.
Perfect.
Yeah, like so. But if it's a girl, it could be like the one that no one pays attention to, like the girl who gets the coffee that no one's really like, like the wallflower.
So-
like,
Yeah.
but actually pays attention to everything and knows everything that's going
Do
on.
we like a governmental thing? I guess given our current, not to get political, but given our current political climate currently, I feel like we could get away with people listening in and spreading secrets within the White House.
Yeah, whoever the translator was in that Russian meeting, there was no one else in there except for Putin,
Oh, that's very
Trump, and
That's
the
very-
translator.
The translator.
Yeah, like what's her story?
Yeah.
Like she's like,
Yes.
like no one's even considered like.
Although that was a movie. I think there is a movie called it's called The Interpreter.
The interpreter. Yeah.
But
Something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
it's something general. But yeah.
But regardless, it's no one really looks at that, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously it would have been in the news.
Yeah, or the secretary, or like whoever's the one who's
Well, but was there for sure an interpreter in that room?
Yeah,
There is for sure.
yeah, there was an
So
interpreter.
who doesn't
There'd have
speak
to be.
English?
There'd have to be.
There was, but they
I know that sounds really
they took the
ignorant, assuming
notes.
that
Like
he should
he
speak
took the
English.
notes. He was very. One of them, I think it was Trump, was like very into like getting the notes. Like they weren't released because whenever they do things like that, like the norm was that the transcripts for meetings like that usually have the staff in there, but they get put into like the Library of Congress.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
they're like, and that was what made it so weird is that there was no records of those meetings. They were like private, closed door meetings, and the only other person in there who wasn't an official was the translator.
So we're making an espionage thriller.
Okay.
I think I really do think we could dig deep in the character aspect where I'm thinking foreign. She just very quiet, just to herself. She comes in, she drops the coffee, she does the translator work, she's doing all that stuff.
You guys are in LA. Have you been over to like Plumber Park is like the Russian immigrant park.
Okay.
So like there's people there who speak Russian first. And second, there's kids who grow up in that. Like she could have come over as a child and speaks like perfect Russian, but she's like American. She's in both worlds.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I've seen that in. I meet a lot of people in a day job I have where I am constantly meeting people who, when you get to know them, they're like, "Oh no, I was born in blank."
Yeah.
Because the entertainment industry is out here. Something that is very interesting is how good people are at accents and how good they are at getting rid of their accent or dialect.
Yeah.
And I think something for this movie should be like whoever it is, maybe this interpreter that we're working for, maybe they are just brilliant. Maybe they're playing all the angles. Who knows which angle?
Like different, like she plays the translator and then the diplomat and all this.
Well, who knows? Maybe she's talking to everybody.
Lady?
Or maybe like they overlook her because she speaks. She seems very American, and then they show her like she comes home like all like distraught and all of a sudden you realize like, do you know when they take switches where she's just like, I heard the most awful thing, and her mom's like, "What?" And she's like, and she speaks like Russian, and like nobody realized that she could understand everything that was going on in the room when they were saying stuff like nuclear codes.
She just cut all that information.
Yeah, she just kept like anything else, like just sounded like full American.
And definitely with that, like having all that knowledge in your head, especially at that level of like in the political, like that gets like it's gonna get to her.
Sure.
And feeling, you know, what can she say? Is her mom safe? Is there all these things? You know, who can she trust? All that stuff. I like that.
My buddy Guy does that. Like he speaks 3 languages, and he'll be at a table, and someone from another country will say stuff not knowing that he understands, and he'll walk away and say, "Sons of bitches!" Like call me an asshole. Like he'll just like he speaks Mandarin and he speaks French, so like someone will say something not just assuming he doesn't speak the language because he looks so American, and then he'll like walk away and he'll be like, pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like, but he keeps a straight face and smiles. So this girl could be like one of that where they have no idea that she understands.
They think
like,
it's just Farsi,
they don't. She doesn't.
So okay, I love that. We have that character.
Okay.
How deep into this political theme do we want to get?
What do you mean by that?
Like as far as the content, like what the crux of the story.
Yeah, so
what's gonna make her tick? What's gonna make her spill that information? Is it something like? Is there a terrorist threat? Is there? Is it?
I think there's always a terrorist threat. I do have a question. Is there a way that we can get away from it being a terrorist threat, or is that truly? Are we at a place in life where that really is the only obvious?
No.
choice?
What if it's a financial where they're going to blow up the stock market? Like you know what I mean? Like
Well, it's all
like
still,
a currency run, stuff like that.
It's all still considered terroristic. I'm thinking what else could be the game? Like, what could be the focal point here's the reason I'm throwing this out there.
Yeah.
Right now, the most interesting things happening in the White House is how apparently stupid our president is. No offense, shit happens. Well, no, a lot of offense, whatever. But how ignorant he is about keeping anything to himself.
Right. So
we already know he's a leaky faucet as it is. But the other aspect here is that now you have somebody who knows both sides of a conversation. Yeah. Like we're talking, maybe they have a photographic memory, and that's why she's so good at what she does. She doesn't have a secret power, except she has one thing that we know for a fact truly does exist, and that is somebody with a photographic memory. Yeah. That is a real superpower as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I hate arguing with people with photographic memories because they don't forget.
They remember everything.
It's very annoying. Yeah. But it's also really convenient because when you're with somebody like that, you go, hey, you remember that one thing? And like, oh yeah, actually, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, thank God you knew that. I knew you knew that. Something's wrong with you. Damn. But it's just, I feel like there should be, I don't know, some aspect to this that it's maybe less about a terroristic threat, and maybe we centralize it more to coercion. You know?
Yeah.
The Russians and the Americans, this is maybe the fun part of this, is maybe we dig deeper into more conspiracy type stuff about how the world works. What if it turns into a conversation about how real decisions are made for the world? Not just America, not just for Russia. What if she starts peeling away at the onion and we realize,
she knows where all the money laundering is. Like, she gets a glimpse at the Panama
how the actual world works.
Yeah, where all the money's being, it's like, if she can see it in like Russian, she can go like, they're taking money from like food stamps, they're taking money from here and there, and it's all going to the Bahamas to be like trickled out through like Russian real estate deals, like whatever the hell that is.
It's like basically the best journalistic story ever that we don't need to have told from a journalistic standpoint. We're going to tell it from the standpoint of essentially the one who blows it all up.
Yeah, I love that. Big epic terrorist, movies. So I do love getting away from that, and the fact of just visualizing like her seeing these, whether it's numbers or the documents, she's translating and putting it together and saying, "Oh shit, it clicks." Yeah, I love that.
Like for instance, we've all heard of the Illuminati, whether it's real or not. And I love conspiracy theories, not because I'm a nut job, but because I think it's a far more interesting story to tell or to hear. And I think that that is always more interesting than the truth. The truth is usually something boring, like it is just what it is.
Yeah. I have a thing about conspiracy theories because I think they've become the new religion or new mythology. Mm-hmm. And people are really willing to dive full in there. I don't think, logically, I don't give them much weight. But as far as like storytelling and how they work, it's so much, like you can just drop in a conspiracy theory where 3,000 years ago was a story about Apollo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people will like full,
they go hard.
They just go like, well, this guy went to school with this guy and they were in the same room then. It's like they gotta be.
They gotta be related.
Yeah, so like,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, people will go down that rabbit hole. They're ready for it. Like, so yeah, like if you can.
It's a fun story.
Yeah, like conspiracy theories are like new religion, man. So
what kind of conspiracy theories should we have in this?
I'm saying how the world really works. The idea of like the Illuminati. They've always. I've seen a few movies start with this concept of, and then it's become like a good go-to like MacGuffin type thing where it's in a world where you know that the world is only run by 7 people.
Yeah.
The 7 most important people you wouldn't know existed who are actually making every decision for the world. Blah blah blah. I love that storyline. I love that concept, and maybe it's less about these faces of who it is and just more about learning how that works.
Listen, this could be like a mass thing where they're like letting the planet be destroyed by the fossil fuel industry. Like they have that thing called the 7 Sisters, which are supposed to be the 7 fossil fuel giants, right? You know what I mean? Like Shell. People say Shell is like the sun gods. Like they say they all go back to like the ancient sun god worshippers.
Like Ra.
No, but that's what they say. The symbol for like Shell oil company is that, and then BP is like Dutch Petroleum goes back to like the Merovingians. Like so you have the 7 fossil fuel industries, and they're like, we are going to suppress all climate change industry to have fossil fuel continue to make all their money, so that, like as far as conspiracy theories go, if you get like that there's 7 controlling families controlling energy, and that they can continue to stop any kind of regulation to keep burning oil and like flooding Bangladesh, you know what I mean? Like there's like people will go like that's like the Illuminati people.
I kind of like that. I like that, and I'm starting to get like visuals of like things that are happening or the way we set things up or views. I almost like the storytelling concept of when they show kind of like they set up those families. I like this kind of general family idea. Maybe we can go run with that a little bit. And like this idea that you meet we're talking how we explain how power works from just money and levels of money, and then we explain how these people, how not only are they rich, but they're the literal most powerful people at the moment. But we start by like little things like, we've seen power start here. We've seen power from everything from somebody feeding a dog and how quickly your dog learns where to get their food from. That owner owns that dog, and that dog will do anything it needs to. And then we see it in real life. We see it how it transformed during unfortunately slavery, and how we did it during bad times, and how it's been translated and so on and so forth. And then you see it down to, and this guy's just a rich guy, and look at how quickly he owns through. Sir, I need a table. Oh, we don't have any tables. Sir, I need a table. Excuse me. And they clear the restaurant for this person to sit down. I'm talking absurd, increasingly more challenging.
What's that? The thing they just had with all the billionaires in the world. What's the name of that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The summit in
It's somewhere in Europe, and it's like it's like the 150 richest people in the world. And if you show that, where like when this family shows up, not only do they move the private jet that's in the way, it gets like destroyed.
Yeah,
like someone parks their giant thing there, like they go. Yeah.
Because imagine, then
Davos.
Yeah. So then here's something even better. So now we've mentioned that, and then it goes, and then you have this fucking event. 150 most richest people in the world. You don't think they're having important business conversations that will shape the outcome of everything? But then you go, but just like high school, they have their own cliques.
Yeah.
And then you go, who are the popular kids? You know, the ones that are untouchable. And then boom, we shift over to the 4 people sitting in a dark room in a dark corner going, these fucking idiots don't know what power is.
Yeah.
And bam, we got our fucking storyline.
Yeah. What if to go with that family line, what if this translator has that family line to where like her great grandmother was doing the same thing, and they're passing down all the documents throughout the history of life of the world and of life, so that way she has all the information.
Well, wait a minute. So you're saying that she's interwoven in the story in the sense that she comes from a generation of interpreters?
A generation of translators, yeah.
It's a very interesting change, but it could work.
Just an idea. If we had
it could be also like her family is. Who's the guy who hunts vampires? Van Helsing. Yeah, like her family has been trying to pin down this
future
secret.
A new version of Van Helsing.
Yeah. She's like the Illuminati hunter, like fifth generation.
Okay, wait a minute. I love this. So you're almost telling me that Van Helsing is almost a metaphor for somebody who was like an auditor going after people taking advantage of power, and that she actually comes from a line of vampire hunters who are literally sucking the world's wealth from everybody so that they can buy a bigger jet or an own private eye. Oh my fucking god, I love this shit.
To be the one family that owns everything.
Yes.
That's what he wants.
She comes from the line of people who've been like trying to get the word out that there's
she's the regulator.
Yeah, these 5 families that have been destroying it. They started every war, started every stock market crash.
So wait, so is she part of a secret organization?
Their owner.
Almost so clandestine that it is like, oh man, this is I am getting so excited.
It's called the New Malati.
Yeah.
Well,
the New Malati.
Fun.
That's gonna be it.
RC, I'm gonna take away your microphone if you keep doing that. No, but that's the idea is that we could come up with. So you have the Illuminati, which is essentially basically we have vampires and vampire hunters. But we don't call them that with what we do, maybe. Yeah. This is a whole new type of vampire movie, which, for the record, the left is going to love this shit. We're going to have so much fun with this. And they like to spend money. Isn't that ironic? So I think that there's definitely something there. Oh, God, I love that.
That's a good twist.
That is a great fun, just a fun story.
Yeah. It also explains why, like, she's been, like, kind of groomed in, like, this thing, like, why does she know 7 languages? Why does she know obscure Sanskrit? And you know what I mean? Like, you know...
What if she's like, I mean, just throwing it out there, but like, what if she knows like every language possible to a human being?
Oh my God, so you're taking the original concept of languages and going like every fucking language. She doesn't just know one language. She's got a photographic memory and literally languages. So
they call her name's Rosa for the Rosetta Stone.
Oh!
Yeah.
Ah!
Yes.
That's so good.
That's good.
Rosa.
Yes.
What is this mean?
Yeah, write this. Guys, I don't normally say this, but start writing this fucking movie. This is excellent. Damn it, that's great. It's so ridiculously easy, and it was right there the whole time.
Yeah, it's like it comes out in like a weird way. Like there's like a thing on TV, and they're showing like one of those documentaries, and it shows like Egyptian hieroglyphs. Yeah. And like a professor comes on like Nero, blah 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 blah, and she's like, "That's wrong." You know, like she just knows. Like read wrong and says, "Yeah, he likes to win." It's like, no, he's on fire. You know, she knows.
Could it?
Yeah.
I mean, since we're on like this road and this path, like I'm thinking, scenes of caveman days, like there's like all like the first time of writing, right? Like that's her first family member is that
like Kabbalah mysticism, like
I know,
people who go,
It almost makes me think of it draws a lot of liking to the conspiracy aspect that I really enjoyed in Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Which is that part of the reasons I loved that story. Mm-hmm. And my mother, I'm not a big book reader. That sounds really stupid out loud. I read books plenty. I just don't find myself sitting down to a book as often as one probably should. But one of the few books I've sat down and I read in straight was Da Vinci Code because it was popular at the time. I kind of avoided it because it was super popular.
Engaging, though.
But I didn't know anything about it. I thought it's religious based. And to me it was kind of like, it seems like it's going to be really preachy. And I was way wrong as to what that actually was. My mother bought this, just randomly picked up a copy, but didn't realize it was the annotated copy that comes with all the pictures, and it tells you about, like, shows you pictures of all the locations, the tools they're talking about, things that in your head where you usually now stop and pull out Google and go, okay, that's what the hell they're talking about. It's right there. So it was super fun, and it made me go, wow, is this real? Is this real? I wish this was real. This would be far more interesting than probably the truth, and there's just a bunch of dudes hanging out. But no, I just think that there were so many good things about it, and I love how interwoven that was. Yeah. We can really draw ties to things that are real and intermix it with obviously our crazy, ludicrous idea to show that she comes from a lineage, like a bloodline, a literal bloodline. It is her duty, and maybe she hates it. Maybe she did it begrudgingly, but because she knows she was gifted with this ability to literally remember everything. So anytime anybody wants to go after her, so let's say she gets caught or somebody kind of figures out, there's got to be a little bit of action here.
Yeah.
So what if at one point in time, there's that beautiful moment where you go, wait a minute, she's the file. Dun, 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 dun. She's the flash drive.
She has the subway trains memorized. She knows how to
get. And we get in the beginning, before we show that off, we see how smart she is and how she can remember all those things. She's in a random country. She just literally doesn't need Google Maps. She just knows her way from somebody looking at it. Okay, she's done.
Yeah.
Like remember those infomercials where you're reading the speed reading, and this is how you do it, and you're like, you know it. Yeah, I did that.
Speed reading.
But if she's in a chase scene and she can look at Griffith Park map and know the trail that's going to get her to the other side, everyone else would be like, lost.
Make a left, make a right, make a left, make a right.
But when you're talking about that, the Da Vinci Code, I read that years ago. I've gone down that, I mean, I know that rabbit hole really well. Everything from the schism in the Catholic Church and the Sistine Chapel, that whole story.
So interesting though.
That's a Medici. He's a Medici.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the richest family in Italy makes a pope. He commissions the Sistine Chapel and then starts the Spanish Inquisition. That was all money controlling all of that. And if
100%.
For generations, if somebody's been dabbling in this, and then she's the one who can remember everything, all of that, all the and then it comes down to where she's the one, I kind of see one of those things, when people do a combination lock and you just see all the pins come together, in her head where she hears this stuff going on and all of a sudden all the levers fall into place and she puts it together. She's like, holy shit, you know what I mean? And she's got to get the information out there.
I do want, so I'm not thinking of all the moments we can really showcase this wonderfully awesome kind of realistic ability.
Yeah.
Her brain, how smart her brain is. I love this.
Yeah.
I love that this is more about intelligence. It is a freak nature kind of thing. I do not have a photographic memory.
Like Powder, remember that movie Powder?
Yeah, like Powder.
I like that because it wasn't superhero, it wasn't cheesy and capey and it was.
Wait, didn't he control electricity or?
But his origin story was really, really cool.
Yeah.
It was more realistic in my opinion.
More realistic. I got you. More grounded in some bit of reality.
Some reality.
And that's what I like about it, is that this is very plausible that I know for a fact, I know we live in a world where there are people who are getting paid a lot of money because they have an innate ability to do just that. It truly does exist. All right? I mean, we've seen smart people. They do exist. They just don't want to be in the public eye because they don't need to be.
Maybe she's paralyzed by it. Her life, she is forgotten or not seen. She's a wallflower because going out and knowing everything must be crippling.
For sure.
So her being the quiet, the person who gets the tea. Yeah. For
because of what's in her fucking.
Yeah, because she almost seems mentally challenged, and that's who they would get. They're don't worry about
autistic.
her. Yeah, don't worry about her. You can say whatever you want for her. She's
So you almost go Rain Man-esque.
Yeah.
Is that crossing a line?
Not if it's. I don't think so. If it's just haven't you met people that you almost forget they're there? You know what I mean? She's
Sure.
she's almost invisible, and she doesn't go out. She doesn't talk to anybody. Because can you imagine talking to anybody and knowing everything, like the root of every word?
Yeah.
You know, like their genealogy. You can figure out by their skull, like their 23.
I mean, your brain.
So you're basically saying that somebody who, because of their ability to do this, have maybe a lack of cognitive ability socially.
Or just has chosen to shut herself off until it all comes together and she embraces that Van Helsing, thing. Where she's like, this has to be done. My grandparents were right. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like something where, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure a way where she comes. Yeah.
Does what?
Be a good acting role. It'd be like Edward Norton, like he's like this guy and then becomes the murderer.
That's true.
I've heard, and whether it's true or not, or like that book that goes down, like the president's passed down, right?
Yeah.
They have that book of like this, it's a secret book apparently. That's another conspiracy. It could be or it could be real. Like she could definitely have that, just files and files and cases of just like from ancient times to this, and then on her off time, maybe she's like reading up on it and she's studying. If she's very, very quiet, like, do we want her to? What kind of life do we want her to live? Does she have a husband? Is she by herself? Is she, a cat lady? Does she go out? Obviously, maybe not a party goer, but you know what I'm saying.
Who's
a lot of character stuff?
Yeah.
Who's like the most powerful, like connected person that you would think in that world, like the Queen of England or the head of the Rothschild family?
The Queen of England and all of them, they're showpieces.
Okay, so who would be the person who is like that person where she's like in charge of like bringing their tea every day or making sure their dog's brushed?
The head of the house, I guess.
Yes.
Head of the
manor. Head of what's the most powerful family in the world?
Oh, I don't.
That's what this movie's gonna figure out.
This is where my education
is gonna figure out that.
Yeah, if she works, like if she's like some kind of like invisible.
It's people with the money, obviously, but I feel like there are people in the world who have figured out a way to keep themselves completely off the grid.
Yeah.
Even if they are uber wealthy, to the point where it's like, let me ask you something. I've met people. Let me tell you. I've met people who have told me themselves literally, people not famous, not well off, who told me that they've paid services to just delete their entire online from the world, to take them as far off the grid as one can be in this world, and it costs like just a general fee. If you are somebody who is so rich and so powerful, and you are working behind closed doors to affect changes in the world as part of a secret, covert operation, we have two choices. You either are extremely in front of the public eye, or you don't exist.
Yeah,
that's right.
And you will live your life if you don't exist.
What if, in this movie, where she's working, we don't show the people that I'm trying to get it. Like, we don't show their faces.
They're
always shadows, and we show off that, like, yes, these are the people. We show the documents. Maybe at their house they have all this stuff. Do you show that they're the richest family of power? Do
you remember the old James Bond movies, like the Scepter, like the guy who's in charge? Now, like Betsy DeVos's dad, right? Now, Betsy DeVos has a brother, and he started Blackwater, like that mercenary army, right? She's like somebody who's taking over education. The dad lives on like a 500-foot yacht, and no one sees.
Yeah.
Like if you're that guy, like where you're like, your kids are destroying the world out there, like your little.
You don't even have to do anything. Yeah, you're pulling the strings.
Yeah, he's back there in between his island and his yacht, and he's like insane and stuff like that. And he's got like one person who makes his food gluten free, and it's hard. You know what I mean? You know, like some kind of like
the gluten free person.
Yeah, like he's a little, he only eats elk.
That's okay. So you're saying you still want like a Bond as a character?
Why not? I mean, it's got to be one of them. Maybe there's like at Davos. They're the people who come from the underground tunnels. They go, and there's the 5 people, and he's one of them. You know what I mean? Like how would we?
I got a question. Yeah. How many people are a part of this elite
in this movie?
As bad. Let me phrase this: the bad guys, the Illuminati. We'll call them, just for place marker purposes. Let's just call them the Illuminati. It's a good name. It sounds fun.
We have to come up with a symbol that there can be points for. Like if it's 5, it's the pentagram. There's got to be 5 families. If it's a triangle, like on the dollar bill,
so is it 5? Do we like is 5 good? Should it be 7?
Or it could be the hands. Or
maybe it's this.
The 4 points, the 4 winds, the compass.
It's L7. You get it?
L7 weed.
Yeah. It can be a ridiculous symbol, yeah.
No, because I don't want it to be comical. I want it to be...
but it makes sense. Like, where conspiracy theory-wise, they go like that.
We're thinking like
they go, it's
Spectre
the pentagram.
and Hydra and all these famous, illustrious groups that exist that are always like bad guys, like bad guy villainy groups. But I feel like if they were really good at this, there is no symbol. There is no emblem. I think part of the reason I like this is because she is literally discovering something that isn't supposed to exist at this point in time. So that's all. I'm thinking we got to figure out a way to make it so it is so non-existent that she sounds crazy. Because come on, she comes from a bloodline of the Van Helsing bloodline, who's out to kill the figment of vampires, which is actually this Illuminati guest group of 5 families. If she knows who they are, why isn't she just killing them? That's the other thing. If she's been doing this from the beginning of fucking time, basically, or from whatever the hell we want to call it, to now, we have to know who the families are. Or as part of the fun of this, that she explains every 100 years, or every 200 years, or every 50 years, the families shift. And then even amongst the uber wealthy, it's a fight to see who gets to be a family. And it only happens this day on this time, and this is our only chance to infiltrate this party and find out who the 5 new families are, so she could start taking them down one by one.
That's a good idea.
That's actually good.
No, but like, look at it this way. If she's been...
Thank you, Jesse.
No, but along that line, like, if you're someone who's grown up in that world and has family, you have no other skills to do anything, you would end up working for one of these lunatics, right?
You're obviously going to have to.
Yeah, you're going to have to work for them. But then you realize, or it comes into your mind, that when it all falls to place, that like every 75 years they start a world war to reset the clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a purposeful thing.
Yeah, and she realizes the next
which happens right at the change of the families.
Yes.
So you get your terroristic aspect, and we still get all the fucking fun spy shit.
Yeah.
And all the... Oh, man.
They crash the markets, they start a world war, everyone forgets
it's
about...
all part of a glorious plan.
Stopping global climate change or human rights. You just reset the clock, the new families take over, and it starts another cycle of world domination.
And the World War is really their chance to really shake things up and do it the way they want to do it in the vision of these 5 families. And they always start like this because then it's the rebuilding process in all these countries that they've chosen.
Yeah, they've done
oh my God,
they've done the potato famine. They started the Crusades.
No, everything bad that's ever happened has been man-made and manipulated.
Yes.
Except for natural events, which they've just got a purposeful way of handling that.
And they make them worse.
Natural events.
Yeah, they make them worse. Like there's a volcano. Like stop all the grain shipments. Everyone starves. You know what I mean?
That's deep.
That's
fucking deep.
Yeah, no. If you look through the time between like 2500 BC up through like the Great Schism, the amount of things that went down to happen, like the ruin Crete, like there was like a volcano, and then there was a storm, and then all of a sudden there was raids on Egypt. You know what I mean? Like they called them the sea people. Like things can be organized that exacerbate like
huge
horrible
epic disasters that shook things up.
You just go like this. The family just tilts it like we're gonna make this really happen. Like, you know what I mean? World War I, what happened? Like, some archduke gets shot in the head.
Archduke Ferdinand is the reason the war starts.
Okay, no, that's the tipping point. Like,
Archduke Ferdinand, for real? There's more there. Come on.
Send a bunch of grenades to the lunatics.
My mind is like gonna explode.
Archduke Ferdinand.
That's why conspiracy theories are so fun. You
They
just
are
go,
fun.
oh my god. Like, can you imagine, like, Archduke Ferdinand dies, and all of a sudden, like, this crazy anarchist group gets a delivery of 500 machine guns. You're like, oh.
What if our war starts with the death of Franz Ferdinand?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's an RC joke. I apologize.
What if... So, when people are going to watch this movie, right? What if they buy their ticket, we give them a little tinfoil hat, they wear it while they're watching the movie?
Oh, yeah.
And they say, hey, that was a great movie.
The tinfoil hat. That's my friend's podcast. Yeah, like, he's like... Yeah,
TFH?
I mean, you want to believe it does because it makes sense out of chaos.
Yeah.
And if you can bring that into it with this girl who's like, who would she be? Is she like? It's not Rain Man. She's like something even like
Genius.
Yeah, like it's
she's
a beautiful mind.
Genius.
Yeah, Like somebody who can, like Stephen Hawkins. She's like,
oh my god,
like the theory of everything. Like
what
she
if
just
for
like
fun?
Yeah.
No, because okay, let's dial back for a second. Let's go back to this idea. I think it's better if we focus, instead of it being an anomaly from somebody's mental capacity and stability, and show that if with hard work and dedication anybody can do anything. And I like this because it shows a stronger female character, and it shows the power of, and maybe in an unnaturalistic way, but since the day she was born, she had been getting groomed for this job to the point that she has, just because she has what they call photographic memory, was not from years upon years of intense training and studying, that she's got to be, because I don't necessarily want her to be like a physical badass, not because I don't think she can be, but I think it's more interesting that she's the intellectual badass who can get out of a situation. Think more like I don't want to say a lesser version of Jack Reacher,
Siri.
But
No, what was the second Da Vinci Code? The girl who was like figured out the puzzles and stuff like that because her grandfather taught her how to do it. Yeah, like, and then it comes to her like, oh, this is why he taught me all this shit.
Yeah.
And so when the time comes down, when it's like she's gone into this world, she's done it, but now she realizes like, holy shit, they're gonna start a goddamn world war.
Yeah.
This isn't a joke anymore. I'm not just like.
But I do want her to handle her own business. I do. At the end of the day, I think she fights her own fights. She takes care of her own business. I don't like the idea of giving her a man crutch who helps her, unless we give her a woman crutch, who's like a physical equivalent to her mental equivalency. So like, because here's the other thing. Then we have this other team we haven't thought of, is the team of the bloodline that she has recruited through her years of her clandestine spy ring, that essentially is literal only like goal is to take down the 5 incoming families who are going to ascend to this concept of literal world domination, but it's just business for them. Because I think it should just all be like more corporate feeling of it, but more like very uber wealthy and things like that.
You know, she needs a transportation specialist.
Yeah, she needs one.
She needs like a guy who, when shit goes down, the guy she has a relationship with, he goes, I need to get secretly from Spain to, Copenhagen in an hour, and he's like, I can do that, like whatever that, like that guy who's like,
So basically kind of like the Jean, what's his name from The Professional?
Oh, yeah.
The guy that was in Mission Impossible. I can fly, I can drive anything.
Leon the Professional?
But that's his character from The Professional, but I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
That's fairly...
Jean Renard or something?
Damn it.
Jean Reno? Jean Reno.
Yeah,
like somebody like that who's just like, I can get through Europe in the Middle
But
East.
but maybe do we Ocean's 8 this shit and give her a team of badass women, which I think is kind of what's appropriate. I think that feels like it's a change. Or do we give her a mixed bag of men, women, children, whatever the hell she needs to get the job done? Or is it just her and one other person? Like, how big is this team she has, and what is this team comprised of? Who is she hiring for her team?
Well, then it becomes like the League of Assistants. Like the people.
But I think there's one thing we've learned is that this is not a job that one person can handle. This is going to require an organization or a small, like another group of 5 people.
Like the watchers, the people who've been keeping an eye on these
protectors,
families.
the buffers, the something. We don't give them a name. Maybe somebody throws one out, and somebody at one point in time is like, we're not going with a name. We're not doing a name.
I think that'd be cool. Like it's their own little secret organization to go against the bigger secret organizations.
Yeah.
And we can even poke fun at what's happening by even making references. Maybe we got somebody's a little like the comedic relief who says things like, maybe you're like James Bond. Like, stop it. Stop making that a thing. Or you're kind of like Ethan Hunt. Like, stop.
Or even if
very
they're
different.
Like, when they compare to like, you have more information than WikiLeaks, and they just start laughing.
Like, what are you, Julia's? Like, don't you compare me to him, or Google. Maybe they call her Google. I don't care. Like, it doesn't, don't call her Bing. Unless Microsoft wants to sponsor this movie, and I'll call everything Bing. I'll sponsor the hell out of Bing. I love Bing. Coke, Pepsi, they'll drink it the whole movie. I don't care which one it is. Who's ever paying, you get to be it. You're my favorite drink.
I definitely, I fucking love where we're at. I want to put a pin in that, just so we can learn more about you.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay. Tell us about you, man.
I just released a stand-up special. It's kind of a stand-up storytelling special. And it's called A Stumble in the Woods. It's on Amazon. And I tried to do like kind of what we're doing. Like I I didn't want to have just straight stand-up, and I wanted to be as honest as I could be.
Yeah.
So I started from like a specific thing, like my first day of school, and I just told the stories that came to mind that led in progression to where I ended up doing when I ended up in rehab, actually. So yeah, so like, and I went from there. So like, it kind of led, and the thing when I did the special was I just kind of freed my mind. I'm like, I have like 25, 30 stories that I could tell. I went out there. I'm like, wherever path this goes, I was like, choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
When I got up there, so like I talked about like things that I've gone through in my life where it was like, why do I not believe in religion? And I kind of traced that back to like, you know, CCD, when they're like Noah's Ark, you know, and I was just like, wait, I read Ranger Rick magazines. There's 25 types of giant lizards. Yeah. Were they all in the boat? And they're like, you got to learn faith. And I was like, I went home, I'm like, Dad, you told me I have to learn faith. He's like, yeah, my dad like basically said like, well, there's no atheists in foxholes. Yeah. You got to believe in something. I'm like, really? Because like, you know, and I like, you know, like, so like, and then I went from there to like, you know, like drinking games and, you know, drugs. Like I'm doing a storytelling this weekend. It was like doing acid. Like, so I just tried to tell those stories, and I just tried to be like, what was I thinking? What led me to that decision? And now that I've had time to look back on it, what do I, is it, like, I don't want it to be like, hey, drinking games. But like, what was really going on in my head? Am I embarrassed about this? Was I trying to find something? Did I learn anything from it? So like, yeah, like I like that. That's what I was trying to go for. Like, do a special where you have someone on stage, like, go ahead, you might wet your pants. Yeah. Let's see what happens. You're going to be vulnerable. There's no way out. You can't all of a sudden go, I'm just kidding. It's not my life.
Well, that's the beauty of stand-up, right? It's like it's taking your honest stories, and it comes off as genuine. And the beauty is, you know, like you cover sex and drugs and all that, you know, childhood and all that. Yeah. I saw it. So it's great because obviously the guests, anyone watching it, is like, that happened to me. I fucking did that.
That's what I wanted, because
that's my life. Yeah.
When I watch stand-up now, and plus doing stand-up for like 10 years in New York, I would see guys who would talk about like sex stories. And I'm like, known you for 7 years, I've never seen you hook up. Where are all these sex stories coming from? You know what I mean? So like and like, you know, the guy who was like, every one of his jokes says, I punched the motherfucker in the face. I'm like, you've never punched anyone, ever. You're not a puncher. So like I just
like you can't even kill a fly on the wall.
Yeah, a fly on the wall. And so what I did, like when I said I was going to do this, I'm like, even though it's not going to be like the most maybe sometimes bang for the buck, I'm just going to be like, I'm going to tell what really happened.
The raw and just, you know, all
like that. Like I'll just leave it at that, even if I look like an ass. But at the end of it, the one thing I hoped is that people go like, hey, that was honest, and I kind of know that guy. Maybe I like him, maybe I don't. And I've only had a few people respond that they don't like me, and it's great because you look up their profiles, and all of them are people I would never want to talk to.
Yeah.
Gun nuts,
that's always good.
Abortion lunatics. Immigration, kooks. There's only been like 3 or 4, and I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect. Like I didn't say anything about that in my special, but they would not like me, and I wouldn't like them because
it's weeding out your following.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's perfect.
Firing themselves.
They know who I am.
Yeah.
And they don't like me, and that's fine with me because I really don't need concealed gun laws to be loosened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I love that. So, you know, actor, comedian, New York and LA, off Broadway, all dolled up.
Yeah.
That stuff. What's your favorite? What's your favorite thing right now that you've done actually?
Well, I'm writing something now with my wife, who we ended up together because we wrote a play that she did called Feeding the Monkey in Hollywood years ago. We did it in New York and LA, and it was a play about kind of people lost. Like this neighborhood, it was based like off this neighborhood. People like just kind of flying through, like getting through. But now we're older, and we're I'm writing something with her called Honey and Clover, which I'm excited about.
Cool.
And it's about like 2 child stars where I told you I had that experience with the child star, you know, like years later trying to get her back.
Yeah.
So like what that is like, and it's really funny because you get to take a step back and you look at Hollywood, and like if you don't know it, or I see people come in the tour bus like they've got it all made, but you live here and you look at people and you're like, they are as scared as anybody, and like the kind of fishbowl that they're in, you know. So I'm trying to like
just shine some light on that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever like had a conversation with like an A-lister, but they look like they are just like on roller skates on ice. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Is it wrong to order this? Am I vegan now? What's going on? Do I drink oat milk? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that kind of pressure. So like someone tried to get back into that. Like I just want to like evaluate because it's like in my opinion, and I talked about this in the special. Like I think a lot of people put the ladder up and they get to the top of it, and it's like an old cliche, but like you have the ladder up against the wrong wall. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like you're like, I'm here, I'm at the top, and I hate it. You know what I mean?
How do I get back down?
Yeah, like I start over, do over. You know? So it's kind of looking at that.
Well, the psychological aspect behind being basically a many sheep amongst a crowd of sheep.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden be somebody that you can't walk down the street. I can't even imagine that lifestyle. The anonymity I have today is probably the only peace of mind I have. Is going. I go home and sit on my couch and nobody's gonna bother. Nobody gives a shit about what I'm doing. Nobody's curious about what's happening in my day, which is great. Probably also why I don't really social media as much as I should. Yeah. Because I'm kind of like, there's really nothing. I'm not doing anything that's interesting. I made a Hot Pocket tonight. It was great.
But to go,
thank you very much.
a lot of the Instagram things you see now, like they're just, it's almost like faking it. They want to show that their life is just amazing, but it's like, you know, like you see those pictures, they take a selfie and like you see like the shitty room in the background of the dirty mirror or whatever. It's like that where they're just filming things to make it like their life is amazing, but at the end of the day, it probably really isn't.
Yeah, but it's really how paranoid you'd be. Like, I just went and got a coffee. Like, if I went and got a coffee and my hair was all fucked up and I was wearing the same shirt I wore 2 days ago, and that became an issue.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
So
like,
stupid.
you wearing a Von Dutch hat? No one's allowed to wear that anymore. You're not allowed to wear that.
No, but seriously, don't wear a Von Dutch hat.
Even if it's raining, you know, yeah.
No, but that's true because, like, honestly, I thought about it. I think just this morning, I wear the same like slip-on sandals. I wear these ugly pajama shorts, as I like to call them, and a t-shirt, a sleeveless t-shirt that should never be worn in public. And I was like, I'm gonna run an errand, so I put on a zippered jacket, like just like a hoodie that zips, and that was it. Oh, and I put on a stocking cap and glasses, and all I'm thinking is, this is not an acceptable outfit to wear outside ever. Like, and not only do I wear it, if you see me in my neighborhood, I'm probably in it a lot. Because when I'm home, that's what I'm wearing. That's my not doing a shit outfit.
Exactly.
Because I don't give a shit today. But if I was like somebody started recognizing me, God forbid, on the street, I would be like, oh no, I can never wear this outfit ever again in public. I have to wear a tuxedo every time I leave the house for the rest of my life. And somebody's gonna be like, look at this loser. Like, damn it.
I would just like, I've been wearing the same clothes. Like, I'm glad that I've never really fallen into trends. I've been wearing the same basic outfit for 30 years. Like jeans, flannel, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes they get wider on the bottom by accident.
It depends on the year,
My wife got me tight pants. I had to return them. Like, I'm not wearing jean tights. You know what I mean? But like,
shirts.
never wore an Ed Hardy shirt. I don't like anything with writing on it. But like, can you imagine being somewhere like your favorite outfit? You're like, that's out.
You can't wear that outfit
now. Now you have to wear.
So 2 months ago.
You have to wear bomber jackets.
Oh man,
we'll get you a new bomber jacket.
Somebody told me I couldn't wear my jeans, slippers, and a t-shirt. I would lose my mind. Well, then what do people wear?
I have a giant Pharrell hat I love. You can't wear it.
You can't wear the Pharrell hat. You know why?
3 weeks you can wear it.
Pharrell wore the hat, and now I can never wear the Pharrell hat. I can never be Ranger Rick for the rest of my life. Thank you, Pharrell.
Are you Pharrell? Just kidding.
I'm a Mountie from Canada.
This thought just popped in my head. Trends, fashion, right? We could tie that into this movie as far as there's a certain family member that is trying to control that market and just saying, you know where I'm getting at, where that's another addition to this world disaster trend thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. If there's a river in China, and the lady from Vogue said you can tell what the most popular color is going to be on next year's fashion walk by what color that river turns. From all the dyes that go into it, there's these things where the manufacturing textile industries that are made there make the fabric for everything.
Yeah.
So they'll show like satellite pictures, and there'll be like 3 tributaries that go in. One's purple, one's pink, and that's what they're making there. So like if you just see one of these families and the girl's like, I like aqua, and then it like shows a satellite image of a giant river just all of a sudden being that color. You know what I mean? Like there could be stuff like that.
You know how Pantone, the coloring company, always comes out with their year, like this is the hot color of the year or whatever. That would be kind of interesting. Is if you get a satellite image, and as you get closer and closer, and the color becomes really, you saturate it with the eye. Yeah. All of a sudden, it just snapshots, and it says Pantone, puts a color on it, and then it's just like that's how easy decisions are made in the world. That's by these 7 or 5 people, And it's just, oh man, there's so many different fun things we could do with that, and you could tie in everything. Like we could sell sponsorship on everything because capitalism and commercialism is going to be prevalent in the choices they make. Because at the end of the day, what is it all about? Money. It's always about money.
They did that in The Devil Wears Prada, and I watched that with my wife. But Glenn Close said, "You're wearing that color sweater, and you don't know why."
Cerulean blue.
It's like that type of
right?
thing. Yeah.
Somebody looked that up.
It's so very true. That's,
But
that's the thing is like the normal day to day we get distracted, right? Mm-hmm. They're distracting us with movies like what we're gonna produce.
Well, there actually was a brilliant movie that nobody's gonna believe me on if you haven't seen it, but if you have seen it, you understand. It was Josie and the Pussycats. Now, before you question me, see the movie. It's brilliant, and it really is all about consumerism and shit like that, and how you're being brainwashed. But they are literally, spoiler alert, they're literally brainwashing people through popular music. So there's literally, they can have any band, they can make any band famous because they're literally behind it going, this is the favorite band. It's got Mr. Movie Phone to do the subliminal messaging, and it is brilliant. It's such an easy concept, but everywhere you go, it's just like, it's like in an alternate world where everything is high advertisement, to the point that they're at a concert and they tell everybody you can't hear the concert if you don't buy these special ears. And so everybody puts them on and then takes them off and puts them on, takes them off, and you see this entire arena of people doing it every time she does it. But it's how simple that is. There's something really brilliant about that.
That's been going on for they did that in The Fountainhead, but there's been movies made about that where if there's 3 certain people say Beats headphones, the reason it became so big is they were brilliant enough to go let's give free headphones to the most popular people on social media. And then they showed them here's the deal, wear these wherever you get interviewed, and all of a sudden everybody's like, I gotta get those. They're goddamn headphones.
Speaking of free pair of headphones, we're selling for $500 a pop. Are you kidding me?
They just sold it for
I'll wear them.
Go work out, go on a run, go do this.
And so now if you take that to the level of this isn't Dr. Dre, it's the Rothschild clan.
John Smith. John Smith the 8th. But for the record, Beats headphones are unbelievably great. I know what you're going to say. They're not great, but they're the most comfortable pair of headphones I've ever worn. If you think I'm lying, then send me a better pair of headphones that you think rival the comfortableness of wearing Beats headphones all day long. By the way, if Beats is listening, I'll take you out.
This is Andy's way of getting free headphones.
I love headphones.
He wants headphones. Well, I'm definitely set with what we've created.
This has been amazing. It's a good show. I want to see this movie.
I was going to be thinking about this later tonight, man,
scared.
Then I would delve into the dark web and just start going down that rabbit hole.
Everything was for entertainment purposes. None of this is real. We represent nobody there.
These are silly ideas that we're coming up with.
It's like, do you hear something?
Hey, Matt, thanks for calling.
They turned off my chip.
So this coffee.
Awesome. Well, Matt, it's great having you. This is your chance to give a little plug to the audience for anything you like.
A Stumble in the Woods is on Amazon. You can watch it. It's you can rent it, buy it. It's an hour of hopefully time well spent. You'll get to see my life, laugh at my mistakes, and see how I came out the other side.
Excellent.
Can you find you on Instagram and any social?
Yeah, I'm on M. Gallagher Comic and Matt Gallagher Stories, and I have a Facebook comedy page.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great episode of the Writer's Block Party Podcast. Thank you for watching and/or listening. Don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all the good stuff.
All of them.
And writersblockparty.com, PRTY. Have a good one.
Good show, man. That was wonderful.